Hello and welcome to News 18 Global with me, Ayushman Singh Jamwal. Ladies and gentlemen, our top story, Gaza hospitals have now become a focal point of the Israel-Palestine war. Now, Israel's ground offensive has intensified, namely at Gaza's largest hospital, the Al-Shifa hospital. The Israeli Defense Force has released a video claiming that hostages were held captive at Al-Shifa hospital. However, Hamas has rejected the IDF's claim and said that Israeli forces have bullishly forced evacuations from the hospital. Meanwhile, Israel is being criticized for rejecting a humanitarian ceasefire to let global aid and relief bodies expand their operations in the Gaza Strip.
I am in the Shifa hospital, as you can see from the sign behind me, and as you can clearly see from the building. We are going to do a one-shot video. One shot, no editing, of all of the evidence that we have found just now in this building of the Shifa hospital. So we're inside the MRI center of the Shifa hospital. Israeli troops reached here a few hours ago, and we have cleared the area, make sure that it's safe. And a few of the most interesting things that we have found totally confirm, without any doubt, that Hamas systematically uses hospitals in their military operations in violation of international law. And what we have found, I think, is only the tip of the iceberg. Let me show you a few examples. Security cameras have been obstructed. All of the security cameras are covered, and this isn't the only one. You'll see the rest of them here. Follow me as we go in, and we will see the MRI center and see the weapons that Hamas has hidden inside. We're now, as you can see, in an MRI room. I don't know when this was used the last time. But it is definitely an MRI machine. And if you follow me behind the MRI machine, I'll show you what our troops exposed just minutes ago. In military terms, this is a grab bag, grab and go of a Hamas combatant. And if you zoom in and we get some light over here, what you will be able to see is military equipment. There is an AK-47, there are cartridges, ammo, there are grenades in here, of course uniform, and all of this was hidden very conveniently, secretly behind the MRI machine.
We've also gathered more intelligence from the hospital, proving that Noah Marziano was not the only hostage taken by Hamas into Shifa hospital. I will now share concrete evidence of hostages. One from Nepal, one from Thailand, taken from Israel during the Hamas massacre on October 7th. I will now share this video that shows the same hostage entering into the hospital. The world must remember, Hamas is holding the elderly, men, women, children, babies, hostage. The Israel Defense Forces has a moral obligation to bring every one of our hostages home. We will not rest until we do. Hamas was hiding and murdering our hostages in Shifa hospital. Hamas was building terror tunnels underneath Shifa hospital. By now, the truth is clear. Hamas wages war from hospitals, wages terror from hospitals.
And let's get to our guests. I'm joined by Irina Sukumin, national security lawyer, as well as geopolitical analyst, as well as Faisal Saleh, founder of the Palestine Museum in the United States. Thank you to both of you for joining us on the broadcast. Mr. Saleh, I'll come to you first when it comes to the current offensive that is taking place in the Middle East. Now, all these claims by the IDF that Hamas is using human shields and it's turned hospitals into these military bunkers. How do you react to that? Is Hamas the real enemy of both Gazans as well as Israelis?
Hardly. First of all, the evidence that this person was talking about is as flimsy can be. The fact that there is a duffel bag with a rifle in it indicates that Hamas is using the hospital is really a joke. It's really insulting to the intelligence of the audience. That doesn't really constitute a command and control center or anything that comes even near. Israel could have just thrown that bag in there and pretended that it was there. So this evidence is nonsense, and it is very, very insulting to our intelligence to say that that's really evidence that Hamas was using the place. And the picture of somebody leading two people into the hospital, we don't even know their identification or who they are. There could be injured people that have been brought in for treatment. None of that is significant evidence that indicates that Hamas is using the hospital. And I don't speak for Hamas, and I'm not a representative of Hamas, but I'm bringing this up because Israel is using that as a justification to kill thousands of people and attack these hospitals and create a carnage. And now they're trying to figure out how they're going to justify that to the public and coming up with flimsy evidence that doesn't hold anything.
Right, but Mr. Saleh, before I get to Irina Sukumin, October 7th, you saw what happened on the 7th of October, where Hamas launched that terror attack on Israeli soil, murdering civilians as well as taking several hostages. What did you expect Israel to do? Any country that is
first of all,
yeah, go ahead.
First of all, there's been reports, including from Haaretz, which is an Israeli newspaper, that a lot of the damage and the destruction and some of the killing that took place on October 7th was caused by Israeli attack helicopters that they were called and they were ordered to strike everybody, and including Israelis as well, and the Hamas fighters. So there's questions have arisen about Israel's claims that all that damage was done by Hamas.
But my question is, you are easily believing a Jewish newspaper reports, but you're easily dismissing what the IDF says. You're also operating on double standards over here. Let's face it at the end of the day. Because at one point you're saying that, okay, just let me clarify. Are you saying that what happened on October 7th is an inside job of the Israelis?
It's not an inside job, but some of the claims about the casualties and the damage that was caused to the settlements there can be attributed to attacks by the Israeli gunships, the helicopter gunships, and the Apache helicopters that were called in to strafe the area. And this is according to Haaretz. Haaretz is an Israeli newspaper, and it's different than the Israeli army. The Israeli Haaretz has a track record of providing accurate information. The Israeli army has a track record of providing false and misleading information about casualties and about the reasons why they're bombing some of the areas.
But then I hope you read the Haaretz editorial right after October 7th, which condemned Hamas as a threat to both Gazans as well as Israelis. Do you agree with that?
I don't agree with that.
See, that's what I'm saying. That you can't have these double tracks. Something that supports you, then you back it, and then something which goes against you, and then you're like, okay, let me get the other guest also, and then I'll come back to you, Ms. Sukumin. Your reaction to what Mr. Saleh is saying, that when it comes to the entire evidence that is being put forward by the IDF, it is completely false. This is a complete propaganda push that's coming in from the Israelis to justify their military operations inside Gaza.
Since the video that you have shown come out, there have been additional developments, which is that Israel aired a video of the tunnels located under the Al-Shifa hospital. So whatever claims about the insufficiency of evidence with this current video that have been made since then, they have been greatly bolstered by a video of a tunnel showing the significant use of the hospital as a headquarters. Moreover, a Washington Post report addresses the fact that the U.S. intelligence was well aware of the Shifa hospital use as the military headquarters of Hamas for years, as has been the international community. The same Washington Post, which, by the way, has been very sympathetic to the Palestinian cause over the years, has in the past aired um, has written about the use of Al-Shifa hospital in particular and other hospitals by Hamas as military sites, and their use in the war effort rather than as mere civilian sites that are protected under international law. So I think the burden of evidence has been met extensively, and I think that even if only one person was held there as a hostage, the body that has been recovered, that is quite sufficient, even if we cannot determine the exact identity of these two individuals shown in the video based on that particular video, even if only one person was held in a hospital as a hostage by Hamas and was allowed to,
Right.
and Hamas used that hospital as a site, that is more than enough to meet the burden of evidence by
Right.
Israel.
Right, Mr. Saleh,
Let me respond to that.
it's not just the
Let me, let
Al-Shifa.
me, I
Right,
need, I
right.
need to respond.
Yes, I will
need
let
to
you
respond
respond.
to what you said.
I'll let you respond. You are saying that the
Yeah.
Al-Shifa hospital is complete propaganda. There's also the Rentisi hospital, the Quds hospital, where the IDF has shown weapons caches in all of those hospitals, which have been used for the operations against the IDF. Now, as per international law, even if a hospital is protected as per international law, if it's used for military operations, it loses that protection. Are you convinced that everything that is coming out of Gaza has been stage managed by the IDF?
There hasn't been any credible evidence presented that anybody is using any of these hospitals that Israel bombed for military purposes. Everything you said, none of it holds water. And I want to go back to the lady's thing that she says the U.S. intelligence. The U.S. intelligence is working with Israel. They're allied with Israel, and they're saying whatever Israel is doing. So they have a vested interest in providing false information to justify Israel's attack. They are part and parcel of the Israeli invasion of Gaza. So I won't put any credence in what the U.S. intelligence is. And the Washington Post is not really a source of evidence because the U.S. Media has been 100% for Israel, and they're not even questioning anything.
Seriously, are you telling me that the US media has been pro-Israel? You haven't seen the
Yes,
protests across
course.
the United States. You haven't seen many editorials from the Washington Post to the New York Times as they condemn
The New York
Israeli
Times
war
is the
crimes.
biggest.
I mean,
The
I
New
don't
York
understand
Times.
your list. Sometimes it's pro-Israel, sometimes it's anti-Palestine, sometimes this is not believable, that is not
The
believable.
U.S.
But
media.
okay, let me ask you,
The
what
U.S.
is
media is
believable to you?
pro-Israel, and it's a biased and have a vested interest in
Yeah, so
falsifying
what
the
is believable
information
to
to the
you?
public.
Is it believable that Hamas are freedom fighters in this entire fight?
Well, Hamas is no different than the Israeli Defense Forces, the way you call them. Hamas is the IDF of the Palestinian people.
Hamas is the
And
IDF, so Hamas is a defensive force. Is that what you're telling me?
I mean, they're the ones that fighting. Israel is the invasion. They're invading Gaza right now, and
Right.
they're being
And what does the
Hamas is
charter of
standing
Hamas
up for
say?
them and fighting them.
Is Hamas committed to the eradication of Israel?
I'm not Hamas, so I don't speak
No,
for
I mean,
Hamas.
I'm
Okay?
just telling you, there is an
To the
organized.
best of my knowledge, they are not. They are not. Their aim is not to eradicate Israel.
Their aim is talks. Is that what you're telling me? Hamas wants dialogue.
I don't know. I don't speak for Hamas, so don't
So,
put
so
me
let
in
me
that
educate you.
position.
Let me educate you. The
Don't
charter of.
educate, please.
Sorry?
I can educate myself. Thank
No,
you.
but I'm trying to give you the information. You're saying you don't know, so I'm telling you
I don't
that
trust your information.
you
I
don't
don't
trust.
trust your.
Why don't you go to the website of Hamas itself? Why don't you
you're
listen to what all the
pro-Israel.
Hamas leaders are saying? They want to annihilate Israel. All Hamas leaders have said that what happened on October 7th will happen again because their aim is to kill every Yahudi, as they say, or Jew. Now, if you're
That's not
telling me
true.
that Israel calls for a ceasefire,
That's not
would you
true.
sit
And if
across
you
from a
listen to
person like Hamas?
if you want to be objective, you
Yeah,
have to
let's be
say
objective. Yeah, go ahead.
okay, well, you have to say what members of the Israeli cabinet are saying. They're saying they want to kill everybody in Gaza, and then after that, they're going to go to Lebanon, and after that, they were going to go to Iran and kill everybody there. These are we have videos of Israeli members of the Israeli forces who are saying that. So you need to be fair and say what everybody else is saying. Both sides have people probably saying stuff like that, maybe. And you can't just say Hamas is the one doing that and Israel are a bunch of Boy Scouts. You know, Israel, there's nothing Hamas does or did that Israel has not done 1,000 times more of. Name one thing that Hamas did that Israel didn't do 1,000 more of it.
So you're saying what happened on October 7th was justified?
I'm not saying it's justified, but I'm just telling